I'm excited to welcome to this week's Tiara Talk Show table a group of individuals who are part of the Millennium Village, and I would love for them to introduce themselves. So, Ronaldo, go ahead and take it away.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Tiara. My name is Ronaldo Camargo. I was the operations manager for the Millennium Village, and I'm originally from Brazil. And a curiosity, I became a United States citizen halfway through the Millennium Village project.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Melanie, formerly known as Duplessis, but now Enslin. And I was representing South Africa in the pre-show for the opening team and was lucky enough to get my contract extended for almost the whole program. So, yeah, good to see you guys.
Okay. My name is Mowaffag Aboulolaa, a.k.a. Moff. That's how everybody remembers me. I'm from Saudi Arabia. I was part of the opening team and kind of the closing team. I had the same privilege like Melanie. I got my contract extended, and I was there for almost the whole time. And it was just an amazing experience.
And my family, we were blessed to have gone to Disney during that amazing time of the Millennium Celebration. And we were blessed to have gotten the chance to see the village ourselves. And we miss it dearly, but a lot of individuals don't really know about it. So would you guys be able to go ahead and explain what the village was, what it stood for, and why it was established?
Well, the Millennium Village, it was developed to celebrate the cultures from around the world and to celebrate the things, the commonalities that we have as people, rather than talk and discuss about the difference that we had. And as the great poet Maya Angelou, we had a little text in the Millennium Village that part of her poem that said that, you know, we are more alike than we are dislike in this world. And that was the main purpose of Millennium Village. And there were officially 26 different countries exhibited either through the pre-show or through individuals. And I never forget while receiving the mission from Epcot leadership, which that at the time was under George Kalogridis, which is now our president at Disney, that said, Ronaldo, you have to understand one thing. We have a test track opening, which is a high-tech attraction. The Millennium Village is a high touch. We are there to celebrate the human spirit and for every cast member to tell the story of their people and their culture through the interaction with the guests.
All three of us kind of like to talk, so we're going to continuously talk over each other. I think that was one of the reasons why we were privileged enough to be selected to be part of the Millennium Village, because we are so passionate about our countries and we love our country so much that it was such an honor to go and represent them and go and tell people about countries like South Africa, like Saudi, like Brazil, places that most people would never be able to go and visit themselves. And it was, I can just remember, it was such an honor for me to come and tell people that, yes, I'm from South Africa, and yes, I know how to wear shoes, and yes, we do speak English. So it was such an experience just from that point of view to see and to educate people a little bit about my country.
Yeah, on my side, it was the opposite. I was happy to tell people, no, I don't have a camel. No, I don't have an oil whale. And no, we don't live in a tent. But it was a fun experience. It was great to talk about my family, my country, and represent it. It was great to open the door to a lot of people who wouldn't have dreamt of visiting Saudi Arabia and give them just a slight idea about it. Right now, the vision I had for my country in 2000 is becoming a reality. Right now, people can come and visit Saudi Arabia, can see all the tourist attractions that were neglected before. We're becoming an integrated part of the world. And that was the vision that made me want to be part of the Millennium Village. And thank God I'm living right now that experience.
Thankfully, I do want to mention Andy Smith. He sent a lot of his photos of the village to me so I could digitize them, which I'm going to include in this interview so people can see, what it was if they had never even experienced it before. But it was such a unique time in Epcot. I think we can all agree on that point, that it was such a place to have an open mind about accepting one another for who we are and learning about different cultures. I think, we have 11 pavilions at Epcot, but there's so many other countries out there that this was such a wonderful opportunity to open the door for you guys to come to the U.S. and also, be able to relay your own cultures. So when did the village officially open? Because I think there was a dedication ceremony from what I read. There's really not that much information.
Can I answer?
Please.
Answer? I can never forget that day. It was October 1st, 1999.
Yes, it was a very special day. We actually all arrived about a month beforehand, early in September, and we did a lot of training and we did a lot of preparations and just getting to know each other as the different countries. But the actual opening of the village was on the 1st of October, 99.
Moff, Tiara, the reporter here, Moff, you said it was the most memorable day. What made it so memorable for you?
Okay. I know this is not the ideal answer, but as much as I was excited about working in the Millennium Village, because of some political issues, and it was a total experience for me. I didn't know, it was unknown thing for me. I didn't know how things are going to be. But that day when I took the leap of faith and started working at the Millennium Village, and I've seen what this place was all about, it changed my life. It changed my perspective on a lot of issues. And it made it a very, very memorable day to me. And by the way, from 1999 until this day, we celebrate the Millennium Village birthday every October 1st.
Yes.
For the past 15 years. We've been celebrating, for the past 18 years, sorry. We've been celebrating the Millennium Village birthday. Usually we send birthday wishes to the Millennium Village and the Millennium Village family on our Facebook group or any other groups that we have on the site.
And the fact that you guys stayed together and included, online, which is great. Thank God for Facebook. And I appreciate you guys being able to be open to an interview because I really wanted to make sure the story about the village was known. It's really, there's really not a lot of information about it, which is very sad. And I just have such wonderful, fond memories of it because it opens your mind as a kid. To be able to speak to individuals from different parts of the world that I probably will never, ever be able to visit. So as a kid, it was so different. So when you had the first guest walked in, from the first guest to the very last guest, what were some of those experiences like, encounters? Did you see people leave the building with a new viewpoint?
I think if I can chip in there, for me, it was, I've made some friends through guests that I'm still in contact with. I will never forget, I had a little family that came to visit me. Pretty much they were annual pass holders and they would pretty much came every single weekend and just hang out with me. I mean, and now those boys are turning 22, 21, 16. I can still remember the lady was highly pregnant and she came in and I was there holding her newborn, and she was I saw Chris when he was just a newborn baby, and we're still in contact with each other through Facebook and everything. So I don't think Disney really realized the power of Millennium Village. I think they kind of had an idea, but it was so much more and so much more powerful than what they ever expected. I mean, the experiences and the friends we've met and the outreach was just phenomenal. I really don't think they expected this far a reach of such a project.
Well, Tiara, for me, of course, it was very important, but I also, together with our team of managers, we had the responsibility of operating the Millennium Village. And to touch a little bit on what can I say Mowaffag? About the political status, we had a lot of training, we had a lot of briefings, we had a lot of security briefings. But from day one, I know, I feel privileged to have been able to lead about 364 cast members from 64 different nations working in the Millennium Village from all monotheistic religions, from different cultural aspects. We have countries that at the time of the opening of Millennium Village were actually in war between themselves, like Ethiopia and Eritrea. And do you guys remember celebrating the truth between Ethiopia and Eritrea at the Millennium Village Theater?
Yeah.
And we had many cultures. We had Saudi Arabia, Israel. And it was so refreshing to see the people, both from the guest side and from the cast member side, just understand and welcome each other, and the cast members themselves trying to learn about each other's culture, so we could better perform the test that we are there. It, of course, was much easier towards the second half of the Millennium Village than on the first half, because the cast members, they were there, like Moff and Melanie, that participated on the open. They were able to train and share experience with the incoming new cast members. And I guess that was part of the success of the Millennium Village, was the ability to extend cast members beyond the initial commitment of 9 months, so they could create a succession and share the story and the experience and relate to everyone what was the importance of our pavilion, of the story we were telling inside Millennium Village.
Do you remember the last day of the Village? What was the last official date for the Village? Because originally the Millennium Celebration was only supposed to last, from what I knew, till 2001. But I feel like a lot of those things were extended. The Tapestry of Nations Parade, other different things. The Pin Station, the new Leave a Legacy. A lot of things were extended because they were loved and endeared.
Melanie and Mark, want to talk about the closing day?
I was unfortunately not there, so I'm not really at this point be able to say anything. I just know my very last day, how much I cried. I literally cried every single for the week leading up to my last day. I cried so much because it was just. And I don't think you can ever put it into words how you have changed in that experience. So but for actual last day of the Village, I can't really comment because I wasn't there.
I tell about the last day, Tiara. It was so darn emotional. And what the Epcot leadership allow us to do is we had the closing ceremony of the Millennium Village. That is also a VHS tape from me that I can send to you if you wish to have. And I believe the most touching moment for me on the closing was, if I'm not mistaken, Scott Blackett was a duty manager for the Millennium Village and doing the closeout call on the radio for the whole Epcot leadership team.
That's really tough. Do you remember what the date was? Like, was it after 99 had come, or did they extend it a little bit longer?
No, the closeout date was a hard date. It was January January 3rd of 2001. Tiara, I have to really, I know we all felt that we could extend, we could do more, but it was a very hard product to sustain. It was a massive outtake to go recruit people in many different countries and to train and retrain. Not only that, um, the Millennium Village, many requests existed to extend the Millennium Village. However, it was a product that it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the intention was to live on the memories, it was to engage the minds and win the hearts of all that went through and all the work there, and to live this legacy that you yourself, you are documenting right now. It was a special product, and I think the intent was to let's have this 15-month special product.
Yeah, and I think it was like, I think Ronaldo said it well, is it was a difficult product because I think it was a little expensive, and it was also because what we were celebrating was the gifts to the world. So it was selected from that World Expo, and all the contributions that each country made to the world from their specific country, and that also kind of had a timeline on it from that point of view. So I think that was also one of the reasons why it couldn't be extended.
What were some of the most favorite things you got to try or do during that time period from another country, thanks to your colleagues?
Hit it, Melanie.
Oh gosh, where shall we start? The two girls that I made absolutely bestest of friends with is Krishna from Namibia, and and Candace from New Zealand, and we still to this day in touch. I was privileged enough, although I haven't been able to go back to a Millennium Village reunion yet. I'm planning on not missing the 2020 reunion, but we were lucky enough that Candace actually flew over to South Africa, and we attended Krishna's wedding in Namibia. So the three of us got to see each other again during the course of the 20 years that has passed. And we still, like I said, in contact with each other. And the beautiful thing about the Millennium Village is how really small it made our worlds. I mean, Alicia, I got to see Alicia a couple of times, and she's, also came to South Africa, and I've used her as a public speaker now in my job here. So I'm connecting her with other people. How I've connected another South African with Krishna again in the US, and literally just connecting people everywhere. Do you know somebody in this country? Do you know somebody in this country? And it's just made my world so much smaller. So that's one of the things that kind of stood out. And I mean, all the food and all the the talent show was amazing. Just seeing that different cultures in action. Ricky from Denmark is still one of my dearest friends, and we still, keep in contact through our babies and through husbands and stuff like that. So, and it's like, how would I have ever met somebody and even call them a friend from Denmark? It's just beautiful. So I love that.
Oh, it's so cool to hear some of the names you're saying. Like Christian, I believe is in Orlando, Melanie.
Krishna is still working for Disney. Actually, she's still in Florida.
Yeah. Was at Animal Kingdom, and Tiara. You ask every one of those cast members made a mark in my heart, and every one of those exhibits from the pre-show. I used to know most of the pre-show text and introduction. You know what I mean? It was pretty cool from the pre-show to Scotland, to Brazil, to Saudi Arabia, to Sweden. Saudi Arabia had a little area called the Spirit of Saudi, that some words showed up in Arabic and the guest would touch like in a water fountain and you'd show the translation in English. Oh, that's Moff. I was just talking
Okay,
about Saudi
I'm back.
Arabia, Moff. So Saudi Arabia, I'm just going to repeat quick, Moff, had a little Spirit of Saudi. The words come down on the fountain in Arabic, the guest touch and the translation show up in English. But the cast members at the Saudi Arabia, after this experience, and I'm almost certain that Moff led this together with Luai, the guests were asking, how do you write my name in Saudi? Remember that, Moff? In Arabic.
Yes.
How do you write my name in Arabic? So they brought to us the leadership and the guys to do something. The guests asking us to add the name in Arabic, and we got the permission to do. It became part of something that came from the cast members, became part of the Saudi Arabia exhibit, and it was an average, and I did this, it was an average of 1,500 guests a day that had written in Arabic. And also you start serving the blonde coffee with cardamom, that was not part of the initial. So all of
That's right, yeah.
experience was so beautiful, oh my God, the coffee experience in Eritrea and in Israel, the stories, the journey through Jerusalem. Every one of those exhibits had a story, and every cast member did a part so well. And it was, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anyone, but it was so apolitical. There was no politics inside the Millennium Village. That was the most impressive thing I saw towards the end. You go to the break room, see Israelis and Saudis and Greeks and Brazilians and Scottish having lunch together, going to games, playing. It was so, oh my God, it was a utopia country. It was a utopia country.
Just to touch back on some of the subjects you guys talked about, the closing day, I wasn't there for the actual closing day, which was in January 3rd, I think. But I was lucky enough to be in Orlando for the last New Year that we had on December 31st. And we celebrated it at the Millennium Village. Like everybody from the Millennium Village closed out, and we went out in front of the Millennium Village and we watched the fireworks for the last time. And it was epic. So that was the first thing I wanted to touch on. The second thing, I think you guys were talking about Ida and Khalid. Yes, Ida and Khalid got married. They have two beautiful children. They live in Dubai right now, and I keep in good touch with them. Like we visit each other at least twice yearly. And I'm in touch with a lot of other cast members all around the world, and that's one of the things I really cherish about the Millennium Village. I have friends in places I've never dreamt of having friends at. And then the story of the names in Arabic. We had a greeting booth when you first enter the Spirit of Saudi Arabia, which is the name of the Saudi pavilion. And in that greeting booth, we didn't really have anything special to do other than saying welcome to Saudi Arabia. But then people started to come and ask us about information. And then if my memory serves me right, Ibrahim was the first guy who started writing the names. We had normal flashcards, and one day he was talking to people about Arabia, and he just got a pen out and he said, "Let me write your name in Arabic." and I think it was a small girl. She was so excited about having her name written in Arabic. So Ibrahim and I and Loai went to Ronaldo and we asked him, would it be fine to get like printed cards where we can write names for people in Arabic? And Ronaldo took the idea and flew with it. And then it became one of the biggest attractions of the Spirit of Saudi Arabia. People come, get their names written in Arabic, get a coffee, and then go to our shows. And it was just an amazing experience.
I still remember that those passports that the kids could buy, and then you have to just write in the passports. Oh my gosh! And then because part of the Millennium Village was that you really worked hard and you enjoyed your work, and it was a great experience. But the nightlife in Orlando is also quite something to experience. So a lot of times I can remember I was sitting there, especially after a Tuesday night at Jelly Rolls. I would sit there on the Wednesday doing my shift, and I'll be going, oh my gosh, if I have to write another passport, I might actually fall asleep while I'm doing it. And you're writing, and I was writing in Afrikaans as well, so that, it's also something different that we added, in the pre-show area for South Africa, writing in Afrikaans, because that's one of our 11 official languages. But we wrote a lot of passports, and we signed a lot of passports. You felt like a celebrity on the first, maybe 50, and then after that was like, why did we ever start this idea?
When it came to say goodbye to Millennium Village, did you guys ever return back to Epcot? I know you said you kind of keep in touch with everybody, but did you ever return to Epcot to see what exactly became of World Showcase itself?
Yeah.
Well, I got so hooked with Disney. I returned a couple of times to work for Disney. I returned a couple of years later to work in the Village Traders there between China and Germany, and then also transitioned into the Animal Kingdom Lodge, where I did the art tour and the storytelling and was a Savannah guide. And then I still didn't have enough, so I returned to Disney Cruise Lines, where I worked with other couple of also Millennium Villages, and I stayed with a cruise line for another 3 years, so in entertainment as well. So I just loved it, and every time I had the opportunity to go back to Epcot, I would do so, just so that you can. But it was always so sad when you walk past the Millennium Village, and there's just those big darn doors, and it's like, a part of your heart sits behind that door, and there's just this empty shell, it felt like to me. So it wasn't the same again, but at least at 9 o'clock you can see the reflections of Earth fireworks, and then it kind of be like, oh, okay, it's still kind of there, but it's not the same when the doors are closed.
Sure. And we actually had the 10-year reunion at Orlando in Epcot. It was arranged by some of the Millennium Village cast member, like ex-members, and Disney was very welcoming. And we had our celebration dinner at the Millennium Village, at the World Showcase. At where the Millennium Village used to be. We held a banquet there where Ronaldo and George Kilgridis and Alicia and a lot of the other managers came in and said a few words. And I think we had over 150 cast members and their families attend that banquet. It was a nice experience. It was heartbreaking though. It felt so painful to go in and see the place completely empty, not as it used to be.
Oh my goodness.
I was literally in tears. And I was just married a few years before that. I had my wife with me. I walked her around and I showed her where the Spirit of Saudi Arabia used to be, where the Brazilian exhibit used to be, and the Scottish exhibit, and here we had the 4 eggs of Sweden, and I was so excited to show her that. and I think she loved the idea of the Millennium Village just out of my excitement of me telling her about it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, because I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry. I'm trying my hardest so that we can be at the reunion for next year, because you get so excited, and it was such an experience, and just Disney in itself is such an experience. I mean, it's so foreign to any South African that my family has never been, my husband and my kids and everybody's never been. So, you get excited about what you share and the memories you share, but it's yours. They don't understand because they can't see it, and they don't understand the magnitude of what you're trying to put into words. So that's what I'm looking forward to go and show them, because it's like it became such a big part of who you are, and it's formed. And I think Morph, you mentioned it as well. It formed you, and your perceptions that you had about certain countries and cultures, it has changed you so much that it's so much deeper than just a Mickey Mouse or a Minnie Mouse that you can have an autograph about. And I think people just don't understand. I know my husband at one stage was like, yeah, I really don't understand what you're talking about. Even the pictures are like, because you look at a picture and you go blah, 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 about the picture, because it's so many memories, and he's just like, yeah, I don't get it. So I'm so excited, and I just pray that all the stars will align, that I can join for next year's reunion.
I draw so much energy from every cast member from the Millennium Village from those times. And some of our cast members, probably Melanie, they don't like to hear, but what impresses me the most is the world leadership that came out of Millennium Village. You can
so true.
Moth can say probably a dozen. Melanie can say about a dozen of people that they know that they are either in diplomatic or leading corporations, or doing research as doctors or college professors. Or once we start to understand that we didn't have difference, we all like to laugh, to cry, to eat, to drink, to have fun. And it just, we said it in different languages, and acted in different way. And I guess that's what made Millville unique.
Yeah, no, I couldn't say it any better. It was just so unique. And I mean, for me, it was the different languages that I loved, and learning a couple of words of Hebrew, and learning a couple of words of Arabic, and then I got really intrigued with Malia was one of the managers there that was deaf, and I really got intrigued with American Sign Language, and I actually ended up taking a whole bunch of American Sign Language lessons and classes, and then we started doing the pre-show in sign language, learning our speeches in sign language. And it also just something that I never got to experience in South Africa was deaf people or sign language, and how it changed me. And I'm still to this day friends with Malia, and I think she's now in the Carolinas somewhere, but and the American Sign Language, I just love that. That just opened up a whole different world to me personally as well. So that was also quite unique. But something I want to just touch on, which was very exciting to me because it's also quite foreign, was, remember just before Millville opened, Hurricane Floyd? How everybody was panic stations, and we were on hurricane duty. I mean, I haven't even seen a natural disaster in my entire life, never heard of a hurricane or a tornado or anything. I mean, we don't even get snow in South Africa. The only thing that we might be worried about would be a drought. So now all of a sudden we have hurricane warnings, and we were on hard hats and picking up straws and God knows what else, and then it never happened. But Disney was closed for the first time in history for 2 days or a day, I think, for Hurricane Floyd, and how we had hurricane parties. I can remember that as well.
Yes.
Oh my God.
We had. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, Mov.
Okay, good. Yeah, Disney was closed for one day, time in history, and we had a hurricane party at a friend's house. I don't think Tiara knows, or a lot of people know. I used to live in Orlando, so I had my own apartment. I didn't live in Vista Way as everybody else. And when we had the closure for the hurricane, some of the Saudis and some of the Brazilians and Swedish cast members, we all got together at my friend's house. We got supplies, and everybody got we barricaded the house, and we stayed there for that night. It was the wildest party ever. Wildest party.
Hey, Tiara, I'm a grandpa. I'm an uncle. You know what I mean? It's so unbelievable how much love I received from the Millennium Village.
Do you think that there could ever be another Millennium Village anytime in the near future for Epcot? Do you think that would be something that should be revisited at some time to give another group of individuals from around the world to get the chance to share the culture?
Honestly, Tiara, in Orlando, I don't know. But, you know, for example, I think that would be a great concept. You can write to Disney. I think it would be a great concept to take, for example, to Shanghai Disney.
Yeah, I think it would be such a great thing to do, and I think with today's technology and the social media and everything, I think it could be such a far-reaching project. But I do agree with Ronaldo. I don't think Epcot would be that, because of the pavilions that's already there, and I think if it's at a different Disney, it could be more have more of an impact. The idea behind the Disney would be more, or the Millennium Village would be more powerful if it wasn't in Epcot again.
And to complement what you're saying, Melanie, I'm sorry, Moff, I just talked over you. But for example, if we do somewhere in Asia, if Disney does somewhere in Asia, a Millennium Village, there will be a way, especially in China, Shanghai or Hong Kong. Hong Kong not as much, but Shanghai, to bring the different cultures of the Western world and from the Middle Eastern world. So the same experience that we had, is the same discovery that we had the opportunity to have, they would have.
In the 10-year reunion, I had this talk with both George Calabridis and Carl Holtz. They were both at the banquet, and I had the talk with them. I was asking them, do you think we can ever have the Millennium Village again? And they didn't say no straightforward, but they kind of broached the idea out. And then I gave them, it was more of a dream than a request. I told George Calabridis at the time, I was like, I dreamed that in one of the reunions that we could at least reenact the Millennium Village for one day. That would be a lot of fun for a lot of people, and I would love that chance to have my kids actually live the experience. He said it was a good idea at the time, but I don't. Honestly, I don't see it happening, even though I really wish it would.
Yeah, I think I still have my name badge and my Train the Trainer pin that I got, a couple of pins that I still kept. My mom keeps on saying that she's going to get rid of it, and then I start to cry, and then she keeps it. So... But yeah, I still have a couple of. I actually not maybe of the Millennium Village, but for some reason I have a Canadian shirt.
I would love to hear the story behind that.
We just hang out with a lot of Canadians at that time, and I shall not say anything else.
I have all my pins.
Oh, good. That's awesome. I know they had didn't they have
Yes.
a flag pin for every single country represented?
Yes, Ronaldo. Who was the president of Disney at the time?
The president of Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
It was Judson Green.
No. We had the president of Disney come and do a walkthrough. The
President
Millennium
of
Village.
the Disney company, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, that was after Michael Eisner.
Michael
Before
Eisner.
Bob
Yes,
Iger.
that was Michael Eisner. He came in and he did the walkthrough the Millennium Village, and you asked me to do the shows of the Saudi Pavilion with him, and then we went and we walked around Epcot, the World Showcase. And
Yep.
he was talking to me, and I think it was Ali from Israel. We were
Yep.
talking, and he was talking about how amazing that Saudis and Israelis are working together and they're living peacefully and all of that. And at the end of the tour, he had the Millennium Village pin with the American flag. And he took it off and he told me, "Do you mind if we swap this?" So I took off my pin with the Saudi flag and I gave it to him, and I took the American flag pin. And as I was walking back to the Millennium Village after we finished the tour, Alicia, what are you doing with an American flag Millennium Village pin? I was like, Michael Eisner gave me this. And she's like, hand it over. I'm like, I'm not giving you this. You're gonna give me another Saudi pin flag if you want. I'm not giving you this. And eventually she gave me a Millennium Village pin with the Saudi flag, and I still have both, the Saudi flag one and the U.S. flag one.
You know, I really can't thank you guys enough for being a part of this, because I really wanted to solidify some more information about the Millennium Village, and who best to talk about it with the people who lived through it. You know what I mean? And it's something that I dearly miss, and I know a lot of other Disney fans who are big fans of the Millennium Celebration and also of Epcot do miss it as well. And I can't wait for your 20th anniversary. I think you guys are just so amazing, and I really appreciate you being able to be a part of this episode.
Hey, Moff.
Yes.
You always wanted to organize the reunion, so maybe we could arrange a special invitation to Tiara so she could join us and feel what we feel when we get together.
Definitely. That would be great.
I would be honored. Are you kidding? That would be wonderful, because you touch so many kids' hearts. I can only imagine what the ripple effect was. So I'm just so blessed, and I try to look at my life through an open eyes, and I just really adore it. That would be lovely. So thank you. You're gonna make me cry.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, just bring enough Kleenex that day, because I think there's going to be more tears than anything else. Just seeing each other again.
I already went through 5 sheets here in my office, and
from going through 3 reunions. Yeah, there was a lot of tears during these reunions.
But before we end our interview, I have one more question for you guys. If you could describe your experience working at the Millennium Village with one word, what would that be?
Magical.
One word is so difficult. Life changing, but also exploring and getting to know parts of myself that I didn't even know existed.
One word that I use a lot. Utopia.
Celebrate the feeling.